Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take your sources, dig in, and pull out the real nuggets of knowledge. Today, we're looking at something really crucial: building those solid, long-term client relationships. Our main source is a really insightful article by Dimple Aswani on LinkedIn. It was in the UK Salesforce consultants and contractors community. And really, this is for anyone who works with clients. Could be consultants, managers, internal leads,
Yeah,
anyone trying to make a real difference, not just tick boxes. We're going beyond that today.
absolutely. And Dimple Aswani, she's got the background for this. Her LinkedIn shows she's a delivery manager, an agile practitioner, got over 5 years driving improvements, digital transformation, worked in SaaS finance, supply chain, diverse stuff. Plus, she's certified Salesforce consultant, business analyst, AI associate, agile foundations. So she gets both the tech side and the people side, the relationship stuff.
Right, she clearly knows her stuff. So our mission, basically, is to figure out what it really takes to, move the needle for a business. How do you build that genuine trust? Create relationships that last way beyond just one project. Let's get into it. Okay, so Dimple starts off with this big realization she had. She admits early on she thought being a great business analyst or, project lead was all about perfect documents, keeping things on track.
Usual stuff, right? Nail the requirements, manage the tasks.
Exactly.
Right.
Sounds like the textbook. But then she had this aha moment. She says, and I'm quoting here loosely, some of the cleanest, most organized projects I ran weren't the ones clients remembered or valued most.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
The ones that made the real impact were the ones that actually moved the needle for the business. And then she drops this line, calls a perfectly managed project that misses the business goal an expensive checklist.
Oof. Expensive checklist. That really lands, doesn't it? Because we've all seen those. It captures that feeling perfectly. And what's really key here is how her thinking shifted about client frustration. She used to see pushback as just resistance, like, oh, they don't want to change.
A common reaction.
Totally. But now she sees it totally differently. It's a signal. It means we're missing their business reality. That's a big shift.
Okay, so what does she do differently then?
Well, she stops asking just about the user stories, the sort of micro-level features. Instead, she starts asking bigger questions, like, okay, what actually happens if this doesn't get delivered? Or what are the big pressures you're facing this quarter? It completely reframes the job, right? You're not just a task doer anymore. You're trying to solve the actual bigger problem they have, moving from just execution to, well, partnership.
That makes a lot of sense. So let's unpack her specific nuggets of wisdom, as she calls them. The first one is kind of surprising. Patience is underrated.
Yeah, in this rush world, right?
Exactly. She remembers her first project, admits she just blasted through the requirements workshops. She figured, okay, everyone knows what they want. I just need to write it down fast.
Which is such a common trap. We feel that pressure, got to show progress, got to be quick.
Hmm?
But Dimple's story shows why that can backfire.
Tell us about that story, the education client one.
Right. So this client, a key person, was insisting on this really specific kind of convoluted data entry process. Made no sense based on how the actual team worked day to day.
Okay.
Dimple kept digging, asking questions, bringing more people in. And it turned out the request came from a department head who, because they were senior, could skip like half the steps themselves.
Ah, so the process was designed for their shortcut.
Exactly. Dimple realized if they just built what was first asked for, it would work for one person and failed everyone else. Huge light bulb moment. You can build the wrong thing perfectly if you rush.
Wow. So the lesson is, sometimes you have to go slow to go fast. Or at least go slow to get it right.
Precisely. She now deliberately pauses, asks those broader questions like, okay, who else touches this process every day? Or can we just walk through this step by step from the team's view?
And how do clients react to that slowness?
Apparently, really well. She says they respond well to the slowness because they can feel you're trying to understand the business problem, not just their problem. That's the key. It signals you're invested in their reality. And she adds, that's when your expertise starts to matter. It's about building that shared understanding first, that patience isn't delay, it's an investment.
It transforms you from just taking orders to actually solving the right problem, empathy for their actual work.
You avoid costly rework later, and you start building that trust right from the beginning. You deliver something they'll actually use.
Okay, that idea of slowing down to really get it, it links nicely to her next point, which is about clients value outcomes over methodology.
Ah, yes, the classic consultant dilemma.
Right. Early on, she thought the way to impress was showing off her agile knowledge, the ceremonies, the perfect documentation. proving she knew the how.
Been there. We all want to show our expertise.
But then she landed in this really chaotic project, midstream, no documentation, processes all over the place. She's the only one from her team there. Huge pressure.
Sounds stressful.
Totally. And in that chaos, trying to teach the client about sprint planning or whatever, it felt like her words speaking a different language to people who just wanted results.
Yeah, they didn't care about the fancy process map. They
Oh.
just needed the fire put out. It shows how easy it is to focus on our stuff, our frameworks, instead of their actual needs. Our methodology is just a tool, right? Not the goal itself.
So how do you strike that balance then? You have expertise, you need to use it, but without drowning them in jargon.
That's the trick, and Dimple figured it out. It's about shifting the focus of your questions and communication. Stop explaining the mechanics of Agile. Start asking things that resonate with their business. Like, okay, what does success actually look like for your team? Can we measure it? Or even simpler, what's the one thing that would make your daily work easier right now? It's about being confident in your skills, sure, but expressing the value of those skills in their terms of outcomes they care about. That's how you build trust and get them bought into the solution, not just tolerating the process. Translate the how into their what.
Makes sense. Translate the value. Okay, third point, building on that. Context is everything.
Yes, the bigger picture.
She says every project is part of a bigger story, right? It's not just this isolated task list. There are business goals, people dynamics, maybe even politics involved. Early on, she focused tactically, schedules, budgets, requirements.
Standard project management stuff.
But her best mentors taught her to zoom out, ask those bigger strategic questions.
And those questions are crucial. Things like, who really benefits if this works out, and how? Is it the frontline folks? Is it leadership getting better reports? Also, what larger business objectives does this support? Revenue, customer sat, compliance, and importantly, what does success actually look like day to day? Fewer clicks, faster approvals, less confusion between teams. Seeing that whole landscape helps you spot risks and opportunities you'd otherwise miss.
She has a great example of this spending a day with a client at a Salesforce event.
Ah, right. She wasn't just there with them.
No, she was actively guiding them, pointing them to specific demos, insights that tackled their challenges they'd discussed. And that experience, it didn't just get them excited about tech, it helped her understand their bigger vision, their strategy.
And that paid off later.
Big time. She says it became an important asset for our team as we pitched follow-on work, because they didn't just know the immediate problem, they understood the whole strategic direction. It's about being that strategic partner, not just the person who builds the thing.
That's exactly it. You go from vendor to advisor. You understand their world so you can suggest things they haven't even thought of yet. Seeing beyond the current fire to the future they want. That context building is never wasted time.
And that leads perfectly into nugget number 4. Translate deliverables into business impact.
This is so important. We often talk in project speak.
Totally. Project updates sound like checklists. Requirements signed off, workflows approved, testing started. But stakeholders, they're not thinking like that. They're wondering, okay, but will this help us hit our sales targets next month? Or does this finally fix that awful handover mess between departments?
They want the so what.
Exactly. And Dimple learned this the hard way, too. She spent weeks on detailed operational processes for a company that was scaling up. Looked like solid work to her.
Meticulous BA stuff.
Right. But to leadership, she realized it just looked like paperwork. Useful, maybe, but not urgent, not high impact. It only clicked when she reframed it. Instead of, here's the documentation, she said, look, this isn't just paper. This is the blueprint that lets us grow without breaking everything. Same work, totally different framing, speaking their language, growth, stability, avoiding pain.
That is such a critical skill.
Yep.
Translating. She now does it deliberately, instead of just data mapping complete, which is technical jargon.
Right. Means nothing to the CEO, probably.
Exactly. She'll say something like, we figured out where the data gets stuck, so now the team can actually trust what's in the system. That connects directly to better decisions, better outcomes.
Or alignment achieved becomes.
It becomes, okay, everyone's agreed on what success means, so we stop pulling in different directions. It's not just about reporting progress. It's about making them feel the momentum, feel how this connects to their goals. That feeling drives buy-in and trust, making your work relevant in their world.
And all this, the patience, the outcome focus, the context, the translation, it all builds towards her final, really crucial point. The aim is to build trust that outlasts the projects.
The long game.
Yeah. And the best feedback she got wasn't right after launch. It was months later. A client thanked her specifically for not just saying yes, but pushing us to think differently.
Ah, the challenger role.
Precisely. It involved a really tough conversation about replacing an old legacy tool. It was causing huge bottlenecks, but the client had sunk a lot into it. It was embedded. Changing it was a massive pain.
Politically difficult, probably expensive.
All of that. But Dimple had the courage, built on that trust, to tell them what they needed to hear, even though it wasn't easy.
And that's the core idea, isn't it? Being a trusted partner isn't just about being agreeable. That's just being compliant. It's having the guts to challenge constructively based on that deep understanding you've built. It's balancing empathy with the need for real change, helping them make hard choices for their long-term good. Dimple sums it up perfectly. Solid process expertise plus genuine curiosity about their business plus patience with stakeholder dynamics, clients who trust you with their toughest problems.
That formula really nails it. Expertise, curiosity, and patience. That's where you become truly valuable, indispensable even, earning the right to have those difficult conversations. So wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway for everyone listening? Dimble's journey, it really shows that building these strong client relationships isn't about perfection or just ticking off that
No,
checklist.
it's much deeper than that.
It's about genuine curiosity, really digging into their world, understanding their actual business pains, and having the courage to be a real partner. Sometimes that means slowing down, sometimes it means challenging them.
Which leads to a really good question for everyone to think about. Look at your own work, external clients, internal teams, whatever. Where do you usually focus on the what or the how? And how could you maybe shift that conversation? Shift it to really clearly spell out the why, the actual business impact. Think about applying Dimple's ideas to patients, focusing on outcomes, getting the context, translating the impact. How could that help you build deeper trust, create relationships that go beyond just this one project, and become that go-to person for the really tough, important stuff?